here, still a little bit cold. Welcome here, everybody. Morning, ladies. Nice to see you. Just a couple of things I want to go through. When you're first starting out cooking and you don't know what you're doing, kind of thing, you haven't really cooked before, when you find recipes online, a lot of the recipes, unless you go to a site that you kind of trust, you have to kind of play with them a little bit in order for it to taste the way you want it to taste. Oh, we're doing this again. Hang on, I have to. You have to kind of play with them a little bit in order for it to taste. Look at this. Let's just turn that volume right down. Ha, that'll work too. I thought I was prepared. Guess not. Okay, so anyway, when I first was learning to cook, of course I took home ec through school. It's different, right? It's not home cooking as far as I'm concerned. Everybody's going to put their own twist on things. So anyway, I started collecting cookbooks. So I had the Better Homes and Gardens, I had the Joy of Cooking, I had all those fancy dancy cookbooks. And I never really found recipes other than baking that was pleasing for my family. That came with learning, with cooking for a while, because you know what they like, what they don't like, different things like that. But if you buy cookbooks like the church cookbooks or other cookbooks that are fundraisers and they're put out by the ladies in your communities, those are the cookbooks I suggest that you purchase, because you know those are tried and true. Hey, nice to see you. The cookbooks that are done by the churches and the fundraising ones, those are done by people who cook for their families, and they've had lots of taste testing behind them, if you know what I mean. So yeah, so ketchup. I have no idea what you guys pay for ketchup. I know that I looked at it just recently because I was going to make ketchup this week. A bottle of ketchup, I think it's about just under a quart. It's a liter here, so it's just under a quart there. Was almost $6. Some of them were over $6. And I'm thinking, wow, if you are on a really tight budget, unless you are eating ketchup every single day, that's a chunk of change. You know, there are a lot of things that call for a cup of ketchup, like if you're doing a sweet and sour sauce, if you are doing steak, you know, the steak with the peppers and stuff, you put them in, slow cook it, that calls for ketchup. A lot of barbecue sauces call for ketchup. Baked beans call for ketchup. So it can be pretty costly. Yes, no? All right. So anyway, I'm going to make it out of this. A can of tomato paste. It is 156 milliliters. That's about 6 ounces, roughly-ish. So we're going to make ketchup. So it calls for tomato paste, water. We're going to do the whole recipe today. We're going to do full recipes for each of these today because we can. And the ketchup, the one thing is, because it doesn't have as many preservatives or as much preservatives in it as store-bought ketchups, it's not going to last as long in your fridge as usual. So you can freeze it. And the best way to freeze it is in ice cube trays. That way, if you're having fries, you can just pull out a couple as you need them. Again, if you need them for sauces and stuff that you do, definitely freeze it in larger containers. So let's go down to the counter. Boop. Let me see. Can you guys see? What do I have to tighten here? Go. Oh, are we good? It's sinking. It's sinking. Okay, I have to be over here. Over here. I got it. All right. So this is the recipe. 1 can of tomato paste, 1 to 2 cans of water, 2 to 4 tablespoons brown sugar, 2 to 3 tablespoons vinegar, your choice. Vinegars, of course, will, if you use like the apple cider vinegar or a rice wine vinegar, you're going to get different flavors. It's something you can play with. You can make this ketchup perfectly to your taste. Garlic powder, onion powder, a pinch of each of these, one of these, two of these are optional, right? But as I say, always start with the smaller amounts and add more to taste, because sometimes when you're making things from scratch, it's not going to taste the way the store-bought stuff tastes, right? I don't know if any of you tried the, hey, Janner, nice to see you. If any of you guys tried the crackers or the mayo, but always start with less. So you need a can opener. I didn't put supply list down. Wasn't really thinking this morning when I was doing the recipes, because of course the recipes I'm making them up as I go, because I don't measure. Okay, so we've got a can of tomato paste, and the ingredients in the tomato paste with the Hunt's tomato paste is tomatoes and citric acid. So we're going to dump that into the pot, because I'm all about not dirtying dishes if I don't have to. Okay, so the recipe also says 1 to 2 cans water. So I am going to put 1 can of water in here. We're going to start with half a can and stir it up to get all the stuff out of the bottom of the can. Where's my camera? Where am I? Hey, Marty, nice to see you. Okay, so we're just going to stir this water in this can and get as much of the tomato paste off as possible. Oh, look, I'm splashing water all over the recipe. It's okay. It is okay. So the recipes are down below in the description. So this is 1 can of water. So we're going to start with that, and we're going to mix it and see what kind of a consistency we have. Some people like their ketchups a little bit thinner. Some people like them a little bit thicker. Don't forget, we will be cooking it, so it will thicken just a little bit. Okay, I'm happy with 1 can of water, because I still have to add vinegar. Are we seeing this? Am I seeing? Where am I? Okay, so that's a nice consistency for ketchup. Nice consistency. So 1 can of water. Two to 4 tablespoons of brown sugar. Now you can use white sugar, you could use honey, you could use molasses. Again, it will change the flavor, but you do what works for your diet and what your preferences are. That means it's a good recipe. Always show their stuff closer to the document or closer to the sink. My sink is right there. I can, anyway, let's start with 2 tablespoons of brown sugar. I'm thinking that's going to be an awful lot of brown sugar. So I'll have the other tablespoon here. We're going to stir it and give it a little bit of a taste before we even cook it. The brown sugar that's in the spoon, now that it's out of the bag, Ron will use in his coffee. Now we're going to get all these things in here before we give it a taste test. And then, of course, when you cook it, the flavors will blend and taste a little bit better. Okay, 2 to 3 tablespoons of vinegar. We're going to start with 2. Now, I use this Allen's, where are we? See that lag? That lag is what's killing me here. This stuff, Allen's vinegar. But because I want tablespoon or, of this stuff, that's really hard to pour a tablespoon or 2. So first of all, I'm going to take this and I'm going to put it in that 1/4 cup measure, just in case I want to use it. And we're going to use the vinegar that I have in this container. And the reason I'm putting 2 in is it will help with the part of the preservative process. 1 and another 1. That makes 2. And I stir it. So with those 2 tablespoons in there, it gets that little bit thinner. Right? Right. But that's still a really nice ketchup-y consistency. I may have to add just a little bit more water after it cooks because it may be a little thick for my taste. It depends on your taste. If you like the thicker one, you're good. Okay, so 1/2 teaspoon of garlic. I have a 1/2 teaspoon here. This is my garlic. It's not garlic powder, it's granulated garlic. I use them interchangeably. Okay, there's a 1/2 teaspoon into the pot. 1/2 teaspoon of onion powder. Now I know for a fact that I like that little bit of cloves, nutmeg, and cinnamon in my ketchup. Okay, 1/2 teaspoon. This is onion powder. I buy things in bulk and I save containers and I just kind of write a marker on them what they are. It's very confusing when you go through my cupboard. My family loves it not. Okay, so we're going to stir these in. And so now we're going to use a pinch of cloves. This is ground cloves. This is what it looks like. I'm going to take this one. I don't even know why I've got that on. So it's just a really little bit. Absolutely, you know, that's probably oodles. I don't know. Where's my hand? Can you see? I have to look behind me because there's the lag. Okay, just like that. That's a pinch. That's a pinch of cloves. You know, it's funny. I reprinted these because as I was coming up the stairs, because everybody knows my big computer's downstairs, when I was coming up the stairs, I spilled coffee all over my other one. Now I've got water. Okay, this is nutmeg, ground nutmeg. And again, we just want an absolute little pinch of nutmeg. That's going to work. And cinnamon. A pinch of cinnamon. I use this organic cinnamon. I think it's a Kirkland brand. Yeah, Kirkland organic. And again, I just need a little pinch, so just gently, gently, Kim. Whoa, that's way lots. Ha! I'm going to take this spoon and I'm going to take a little bit like that, like this. Put it in there and the rest goes in the sink. Because that's a lot of cinnamon. Okay, we're going to mix that up. And look at the nice color that is. Now, I know that on some other people's channels, because I've watched to see what other people do, they don't cook it. They leave it like this. Personally, I like to cook it because it gives it more embodiment of the flavor. What I'm going to do is I'm going to taste it. So I'm going to dip the end of this spoon in just so that I can taste it. I think it's fine. And I'm going to put it on the stove, bring it to a boil. The stoves are there. Can you see the stove? I'm waiting. This lag is brutal. All right, so there's the stove. So I'm going to put it on medium. Once it boils, I'm going to stir it good, turn it down to simmer and let it simmer, cover it and simmer for 20 minutes. That's how easy it is to make ketchup. So once it is done, what I will do is, what am I going to do? I am going to put it into a measuring cup so you can see how much that actually makes. So as I said, that a liter of ketchup is about $6 roughly here. This can of tomato paste cost $1.57. Nice round number, $1.57. So yeah, so voila, we've made ketchup. But you know, when you're on a tight budget, and especially if, like, my next door neighbor, her oldest son would have a bowl of ketchup with every meal. He just loved to have ketchup with every meal. So it was brutal. She went through an awful lot of ketchup. All right, so this here brown sugar is going to go over here for the coffee. I don't use sugar in my coffee, Ron does. Oh look, we're boiling already. So I'm going to put that on to simmer. Give it a stir. And did I bring something to put the dirty spoon on? No, let's just grab a. Sorry, guys. Didn't think that one through, did I? All right, dirty spoon on the plate so we're not mucking up the counter. Now I can just throw it in the sink and wash it. Okay, now while that is cooking, because we've got about 20 minutes, let's set the timer for that. There. It's on simmer, 20 minutes. There we go. Lid on, we're just gonna let that do its thing. And we're gonna try these noodles and sauce now. I don't know, do you guys get those Lipton Sidekick noodles and sauce things? Do you use them? When I was working full-time, I would make a package of that and that would be my dinner. Not healthy, I admit, but it's it fills you up. This recipe is, I would say, easily for 2. You could stretch it to 3, double it if you've got 4 people in your house. Yeah, see, that's just it. I don't use ketchup that much. Hi, Tina, nice to see you. There's a lot of sugar in store-bought ketchup, and some of them use corn syrup. You can use that. You could use whatever sweetener you want. Not sure about like stevia and stuff because I don't use that. You know, it's what it is. Okay, it's just, these were used with dry things. I'm just using a clean cloth and I am just getting the breeblies off. Okay, so we're going to make the noodles and sauce. Normally I would make it in that little pot that's there, but I'm using it for the ketchup and I don't have other little pots. So where's my camera? Right here, so I can see that. So these are the noodles that I use. I use these noodles for soups. I use them for when I do chicken pot pie casseroles, tuna noodle casseroles, things like that, noodles and gravy. These are the noodles I use. They're just broad, large noodles. They got a little bit of a twist to them. Ooh, how loud is that on these? Go. Okay, so this is what they look like. They're little twisty. Am I in camera? Yes, I am. All right. So I take a measuring cup, a 1 cup measure, and I just do this. I'm going to pour it. Normally I just scoop, but that's really noisy. Because the cellophane bag is really noisy. Whoa. Now, of course, they're noodles. They are going to expand. Again, this is a side dish. Unless you're making a whole meal, right, in the pot. So when it's in the pot, it looks a little bit more, right? 1 cup doesn't look like much. Now we are going to use 2 cups of chicken broth. This is a no salt added chicken broth. It's a no-name brand from the store. This is under $2 for this container. So I'm going to use 2 cups of chicken broth. And I have a measuring cup. This is one of the things we don't have, like a lot of people do use the metric. All my stuff, like my spoons and things, they're still standard. So I still cook standard. So I need 2 cups of broth. So that's about half the container-ish. Now, of course, you can use whatever noodles you like. It's up to you. You use what you have, right? I usually have those because I use them for a lot of things. Okay, so this now 1.5, 2 teaspoons to 1.5 tablespoons spice mix of your choice. Ranch, Italian, Cajun, lemon pepper, garlic pepper, whatever you like. If you want to do like the sour cream and chive, what people use is the Parmesan cheese, which I then wouldn't add until I've put in the, I'd mix it in with the milk part of this. And then some dried up chives would go into the pot. I am going to use a Cajun seasoning, which is this stuff. And the reason that I am using store-bought is because somebody bought it by, you know, sometimes this just happens. And I have to admit, I really like it. So I'm going to use a tablespoon of that. I've made this many times. Whoop. Okay, we've got a tablespoon. But yeah, I make my own ranch dressing mix. I do have homemade Cajun, but I want to use that up, right? I don't just want to sit in the thing. So I've got that on the stove. We're on the stove. Squeak! I've got a expandable arm for my camera setup. So it's on the stove. I'm going to put it at about 7, get it to boil, and then I'm going to turn it down and put the lid on. Okay, so while that is boiling, we're going to get a 1/2 cup of milk. I don't have that on the counter because our store was out of smaller containers of milk, so I had to get a gallon. It's going to take me a while to use. So I'm trying to think of how many cream soups I can make, because I don't use cream, I use milk for many things, because I don't think I need all the fat in the creams. This is a 2% milk, so that means it's, you know, lower in fat. It's not as thin as the skim milk, but it's, okay, so we can give that a stir. Now, I'll be honest, what I do with this a lot of times is I've got the noodles in there, I've got the Cajun stuff in there. I will add a tablespoon of tomato paste. And the reason I add a tablespoon of tomato paste is then it tastes like the broth from a gumbo without the roux, you know, like when you're making your gumbos. And I will have that like a soup for lunch. Just saying. Not necessarily super healthy, but, you know, it could be worse. I could be opening up a can of alphagettis or something, right? Okay, so I've got a 1/2 cup of milk here. Am I back on the counter? Can you see? Who am I missing? Who am I missing? Hey, Belinda, nice to see you. And Shannon, nice to see you. Kevin, hi. I'm switching my channel up. I'm not doing art for a while. I need to take a break from that. So I'm cooking cheap. Reasonably cheap. Okay, so now it also calls for a tablespoon of flour, and you're going to mix it in with the milk. I don't want to always drag out my big container of flour because I buy flour in the big bags. I always keep a small container of flour up in my spice cupboard for things like this. Or if you are doing something and you want just a little bit of thickening, you can sprinkle some flour on it. I always keep it handy. Hi, Andrea, nice to see you. So I'm going to add a tablespoon of flour. It doesn't work that way. It doesn't fit in the hole. I'm going to do it this way. It doesn't fit into the jar. See, now here's the thing, guys. Because I don't measure, I usually just pour and eyeball it. So, a little bit more, a little bit more, a little bit more. Okay, that's approximately a tablespoon. It's a little short. Let's add just a little bit more. I'd rather it be a little bit over than under. Okay, so there's roughly a tablespoon on my screen. Put it in the milk. Put it in the milk. Now we're going to stir that and blend it together. And once this is boiled and the noodles are reasonably soft, I am going to add some of that hot broth to this mix, because if I just add this, my flour is stuck on my spoon. I'll use the bottom of that one to get it off. If I just pour this straight into the noodles, we're going to get clumps of flour in there, and we don't want clumps of flour. All right, all right, all right. So, question, is there anything that you guys would like to see made? I have reasonable recipes for quite a few things. I don't know if there's anything specific you guys would like to see done. Okay, we've got boiling on the stove. Let's move you over. I don't know how well you can see. I don't know which clamp to turn to tighten it. Hang on, hang on. Oh, we're sliding. Well, there we go. That's good. So we're going to use this spoon because this is the one that we're using for that. And we're going to stir it. And these noodles are kind of softened already. I cook them until I can, read the package directions of whatever noodles you're cooking and do that. I'm going to turn this down now so it's a slower boil. Is there such a thing as a slower boil? I don't know. What am I making? I am making like a Lipton's noodles and sauce, but I'm making a homemade variety because this just calls for broth, milk, flour, the noodles, and whatever spices you want to add to it. It doesn't have all the salt in it because I really, really try hard not to use the salt. Granted, the Cajun spice that I use today has salt in it. The milk and flour both have sodium in it, but it's not like I'm adding a teaspoon of salt to the pot. Yeah, so it's a takeoff on Lipton noodles and sauce. So again, like I say, I will do this, and when the noodles are soft, I will add the milk and flour to it, and it will thicken up, and it will be really nice noodles and sauce. I have added some rice, minute rice, sometimes when I do this. Because sometimes they have those rice and noodle mixes. Yeah. So how have you guys been? I'm going to, it's going to work for me. I can't read the chat here. Let me see. Where's my chat? See, I don't have it. There's no chat on this screen for me. I don't know what's going on. Anyway, okay. We'll put that back on the stove, and I'm going to take this tablet over here so I can read chat and visit. There we go. Look, I see my stove. Lovely. Lovely, lovely. Yeah, Uncle Ben's. You're looking at the floor? Mine doesn't look at the floor. I need to raise the camera. Better? Is that any better? Much better view now? Awesome. Yeah, I've got it on this. See, that's what it's bouncing. It's almost like, you know those lamps that have those springs and they bend this way, that way, and the other way so that it's not a gooseneck, but it's solid pieces. I've got one, it's for reading in bed, for playing in bed on your tablets and computers and stuff. I figured it would be perfect for this because I can kind of move it on, you know, this way, that way. All right, these noodles are getting softer. We have 6 minutes left for the ketchup. I'm going to grab let's take a 2-cup measuring cup because I don't think it's more than 2 cups. Could almost be 1, I'm not sure. So yeah, how are you guys? You know what? No, yeah, I don't know if they said that either, right? It's a very good point that they need to know about that. Yeah, no. Yeah, you definitely don't want to be by an induction stove if you have a pacemaker. Okay, so these noodles are bendy. My stove's gonna swear at me right away. I don't know where's my camera. See, they're bendy. To me, they're just about cooked. That's what happens if you take the pot off the stove. It gives you a warning because it likes to do that. So this is the milk and flour mixture. I am going to take a few spoonfuls of broth and mix it into this just to season it that little bit or condition it that little bit so we're not going to get clumps of flour in. Now I'm going to mix it in. I wish I had a camera right over this so that you guys can see. It's very, very saucy. I know it says to put a lid on it, but I'm going to let it cook down just a little bit more because it's more soup than sauce. Because, as I say, I make a soup like this daily. And because it's my own recipe, I never measure. When I do it, I just... No. Yeah, these induction stoves are becoming much more common. They really are. For sure. Are making embellishments? Nice. Doodling on one this morning. Oh, then tangles, then doodles, whatever. Awesome. Yeah, exactly, Chrissy. I really don't measure. That's why my nephew always called it eating at the improv. I just dropped my tea towel on the floor. We'll just throw that for the wash. And grab it. Yeah, I cook by feel. Whatever I feel like putting in the pot goes in. Okay, this is soup. It should have been 1 cup of broth. Let's change that on the recipe. I have noodle soup for lunch, guys. Go me! Yeah, 1 cup of broth. We will change that, and I will change it in the description box below. Either that or you could add more flour. You could definitely add more flour. Let's change that to 1.5 cups of chicken broth. I know that when you do the noodles and sauce, it's 1/2 cup of water and 1/2 cup of milk. It doesn't have more noodles than this in it, but I'm pretty sure that the seasoning powder has more of an instant flour in it. Yeah, that's too good. Sorry, guys. Yeah, yeah. I mean, because you want it to stick to the noodles and coat the noodles. So either add 1/2 cup more noodles or 1/2 cup less broth. Yeah, I thought it would thicken it, but I'm trying to behave. Trying to behave health-wise. I probably should have cooked this and measured yesterday, but I had the family here for, there's my timer. So that is the ketchup. It's done. So it has thickened. I don't know where my camera is now. Let's put you back on the counter. And we're going to pour it in this measuring cup. It sounds really runny, but it's not bad, guys, really. Okay, so from the 1 can of tomato paste, you get approximately 1.5 cups of ketchup. There's the 1 cup. Okay, 1 1/3 cups of ketchup. So instead of paying $6, you can do it for under $2. Yeah, all right. This isn't thickening. Yeah, it's doing it again. Yeah, the carbs equal sugar too, right? Yeah, I can add more pasta. Let's add that other 1/2 cup of pasta, and then we will put the lid on. Noisy, noisy. Kim likes to be noisy. Probably just should have done that. Okay, we'll put a 1/2 cup of pasta in there, and we'll put the lid on it because what the noodles and sauce says to boil it and put the lid on and just let it do its thing. That's what we'll do. We'll put the lid on and we will turn it off. We'll see if that works. Goodness, goodness, goodness. How annoying. Yeah, definitely 1.5 cups of broth. That would do it. Or 1.5 cups of noodles. One of the two, you choose. I would probably say add the extra noodles because then you have leftovers in the fridge and you don't have to, yeah, don't have to, yeah, 10 minutes, it'll be fine. It will be fine. Because, you know, this is what I say about new cooks. I am not a new cook. I still have failures. Well, it's not a failure. It's just because I do not measure. And that is the problem, obviously. Or it could be a problem. Yeah. Sorry, I'm just throwing stuff into the cupboard. Get some of this stuff put away. Put it away. Yeah. Yeah, I know. Blood sugars are a beast, right? Crazy. Absolutely crazy. But that's the other reason that I try and do things from scratch. I'm not adding extra sugars if I don't have to. I don't think that it's good for you to have as much sugars. It doesn't matter if you're diabetic or not. Sorry about this noodles bun though, guys. Seriously. Crazy. Crazy, crazy. Yeah, after it's been refrigerated, definitely the molecules change. Yeah, molecules change. That's why I love leftovers. You've got your live at 2, Shannon. Nice, nice. Yeah, I know, Jan. I'm not used to, you know the way I cook. I don't have to explain it. Seriously. Yeah, thanks for the thumbs up, guys. We think we're getting older or smarter in our older age. We think so. I can't guarantee it. I cannot. Cannot. Okay, so let's set the timer. You know, either way, this is going to be either a really good soup or it's noodles and sauce. It'll go good with supper. I had, like I said, I had everybody here yesterday for cards, and then my daughters have decided that we're doing watercolor painting every other week here, which is okay. And they kind of laugh and go, "We have to do it at Mom's because she'll feed us." So every other week, my kids are going to be here for watercolor and supper. And then, what else? I had a consultation for tattoo. I'm excited about that. Getting that early April. Yeah, yeah. I wing it. I wing a lot of stuff. Well, you should know that. You've seen me create. It's definitely a wing night kind of thing. Yeah, yep, yep. Winging it. Anyway, I have some lovely ketchup. So maybe I'll do some fries. No, can't have fries with noodles for supper. I could have, maybe I'll make a pot of baked beans. Well, it could be that we have time to see those dumplings. Definitely, definitely. But I mean, this, like if you go to a food bank, you'll probably get the packages with the noodles and sauce, right? But that's something people buy um, and donate to food banks. But for those of us who still have a budget but don't do the food banks, this is my take on cheap, a little bit healthier. And the stuff from like the Lipton stuff has an awful lot of salt in it, lots and lots of salt. Wasn't Lipton bought by Knorr? K-N-O-R-R? Because I know that their bouillons and stuff is really. I know. That's why I'm trying to do this, Tina. It's cooking on a budget. I'm just trying to show more economical ways of, yeah, your products though, that's a lot of salt, a lot of salt, crazy. Yeah, I try to avoid processed foods and extra sugar because you also have to remember that when you are using those products, they have the silicates and stuff in there to keep it from clumping. They've got the other preservatives because it has to sit on the shelf. Yeah, back to basics. Who was I talking to about that? My daughter. I've been spending a lot of time with my daughters this past week. Um, and saying that some of these kids, hey Cindy, nice to see you, have no clue. You know, they have no clue. And the flavor is better. So yeah, Kim made a mess, and now she's trying to fix it. Even with the extra half cup of noodles in there, it will definitely thicken in the fridge. And it is much thicker, but it's still pretty soupy. I mean, I would just have it in a bowl and eat it as it is. But still, definitely, we're going to cut that. It's 1.5 cups broth, not 2. I will change it to 1.5 cups of noodles and 1.5 cups broth. Yeah, smaller Starbucks. Yeah. Right, Shannon. That's so true that we're going back to homemade again. Maybe I should do it this way so you guys can see me, but I don't get my chat on here. I don't get the chat. This is crazy. Because normally there would be a chat thing, and I'm not getting a chat thing on that StreamYard. Oh, look at this. You know what, guys? I don't know why I stream. Here we go. I found it. Perfect. Perfect, perfect. You're just waking up? Yeah. You know what? Since the time change, I've been losing my mind. I've been sleeping till 9, and that's really not like me. But the good thing is I have not been waking up at 4 in the morning. That's why everyone's sick. That too. Heard that one of the provinces has measles. Speaking of sick, that they found some measles in their province. Haven't turned their stove. I know. You know, my sister always used to joke. They would go and look like the home shows, and they always went to see openings of new areas because they would have the walkthroughs of their show homes and things. And my sister always said, "Oh, you still put that room in these houses? Why?" My sister didn't cook very much, but I mean, she worked long hours, and she worked in a car dealership. She worked very, very long hours, and no, didn't cook. Did not cook. Oh, it snowed there. We had a light dusting yesterday. Not bad. We had some freezing rain Friday night, but we were home before it started. Ontario? I thought it was Alberta. I know we had some here, but we've got that pocket of people that are anti-vax, right? Why aren't people vaccinating their kids? Let's not go there. Stop it. Let's not go there. Okay, so as I said, I'm going to change the recipe. 1.5 cups chicken broth, 1.5 cups noodles. because an extra will go down like this. See, it's still very, very soupy. I could always add a bit more flour to thicken it up, but because there's so much flour in the pasta, I really don't want to. I will be bad and eat it this way. Just it takes 2 or more incomes to make ends meet. Never considered changing their expensive ways. You know, and that's a point too. That is definitely a point. And, you know, I really do hate to say it. They're still thinking that cooking is a woman's job, right? That the woman works full time, comes home and has to cook because a lot of men don't cook, right? I'm very, very fortunate that both my daughter's spouses cook, but Ron never really learned to cook, right? We're that bit older generation, and he did basics, like absolute basics, bacon and eggs, uh, potatoes, stuff. But for the most part, he really does not cook. And that's fine, you know, that's fine. Now with the air fryer, yeah, he'll use that and do things, but it's not something that he was really raised. And when we went to school, they didn't have boys in home ec. We just had women because it was our duty. And when I was in high school, it was the first year that they allowed girls into shops, and I took automotive. What? Yeah, like I say, both my daughters, both their spouses cook. Yeah, yeah. Ron does a lot of other things. You know, he'll do the laundry, he'll wash the floors. All's good. All's good. Oh yeah. Well, no, I can't say that. Ron's mom was a very good cook. Very good cook. Yeah, that too. That too. Yeah, I'm really fortunate. I have the best husband in the world. Seriously, I do. I do. All right, guys. Well, the noodles and sauce recipe, I will change it. Please follow it once I have changed it. You know, still, you know, the noodles are making that bit thicker. The longer it sits, the thicker it's going to get. But still, that's not what you want. That's not what we're looking for. We're looking for instant, right? Everybody wants things yesterday now. You have the worst boyfriend. Yeah. It's all in the eye of the beholder. Thanks, Anne. You know, I just do what I got to do. I can't art now. I'm really struggling with that. But there's a long story to that as well. But now it's not the time or place. So anyway, thank you guys very much for being here. I appreciate each and every one of you, everybody up in the balcony, anybody who watches the replay. Great big hugs. I haven't figured out how to record heart videos yet, which is a good thing because I'm not arting. Yeah. So big hugs, and I will see you guys around the web. Hugs. Take care, everybody. Love you all. Bye.